We are back for our final segment of Newsnight. And you know, Akron is a hotbed for softball. And nobody does softball better than the Akron Racers, and especially Joey Arrietta, who is their owner and their general manager. Joey, welcome to Newsnight.
Thank you very much. It's really a pleasure to be here. I've been looking forward to this for a couple weeks now.
Tell us about the Akron Racers. I mean, give us a brief history about the softball team, please.
Well, you know, I actually got started with this back in 1995, you know, and at that point went to our mayor and said there's a possibility, you know, that we can bring a professional softball team in as early as 1997. And, you know, he is a visionary. I mean, he can see pictures out there that a lot of folks can't see. And God bless him, because he saw this one as being something very, very significant at the time in which, you know, he's having some discussions about, you know, bringing the Arrows here. So he felt very strongly that maybe we ought to do something for the women. And we continued on with that effort, and in 1999, we actually were awarded our very first team. We were the first Midwest franchise in professional softball, and we are currently the oldest existing franchise in professional softball.
But the league has changed. The name of the league is now the Women's Softball League is called the WPSL?
It used to be called the WPSL.
Okay.
We actually have gone through a few transitions, but we are the National Pro Fast Pitch at this point. Since 2004, we actually took on the new name, and it's continued for the past 10 years as the NPF National Pro Fast Pitch.
How many leagues are there, or how many teams are there in the league, Joey?
There's 4 at the moment. There's a team in Chicago that plays at a brand new facility in Rosemont, Illinois, one in Orlando, and then also just our newest team, which is now in really on the border of New York and New Jersey. They're going to play in a few stadiums up there.
And this is your 12th season?
This is our 12th, yes.
And when does the season start?
It actually starts for Akron in the beginning of June. We are the leadoff game in Chicago on June 5th, but we don't actually come home and begin playing at Firestone Stadium until June 27th is our actually home opener. And
how many games will you play at Firestone Stadium?
We'll actually play 28 this year. The schedule has been increased. We'll play a 48-game home and away schedule, but most of the games, you know, really 28 out of 48 are going to be right at Firestone Stadium.
Tell us, if you would, please, about the players on the Akron Racers. How do you get your players?
We get our players from a number of sources, for the most part from the colleges. You know, I think if you watch the Women's College World Series, which has become just a huge event on national broadcasting across the country on various networks, but most of our players are coming out of the college ranks today. And we're coming up on April 1st is the senior draft, where the Akron Racers have the #1 pick in the draft this year.
Do you know who you're going to pick?
Yes, I do. That was revealed, you know, to the league a few days ago, in preparation for the draft. But you can actually see the draft on the internet. We're broadcasting it on ESPN3, so you can actually see the broadcast going on as it's taking place from actually the Country Music Hall of Fame, which I'm pretty excited about in Nashville.
Oh, how neat!
I'm a huge country fan, and so I'm looking forward to, you know, kind of the production from that facility.
Every year, do you draft your players, or do players stay with you from year to year?
They do. We have returning players that will be returning to our team this year. Oddly enough, our team didn't do as well as we hoped last year. However, we claimed the Defensive and Offensive Players of the Year in Sam Martyr and Kelly Montalvo. This is the first time that a single team has won both of the major awards. Wow. So when you look down the road to the 2013 team, you got to be excited when you have those 2 young ladies coming back.
Coming back, plus your draft choice.
Plus our draft choices. You
yes.
know, we have 6 of the top 17 selections. So we stand to be in a position to really improve our team in all aspects. In looking at our pitching, our infield, and our outfield, I think we're going to get a bolster in all 3 categories, offensively and defensively.
Can your players make a living playing softball?
Not yet. Unfortunately, we have a $150,000 salary cap that is shared amongst 20, athletes. Most of our players are coaches and have other employment the other 9 months out of the year. They come here for Akron in June, July, and August, and many of them are coaches. Some of them are graduate students who are working on master's degrees at the moment, and many of them are still continuing to, their education overall.
Sure. Your home field, as you said, it was Firestone Stadium. It's a fabulous venue, is it not?
It's one of the finest. The ambiance that you get from Firestone Stadium, and here I go back to the mayor who committed a few $1 million, $3 to $4 million to actually renovate this historical facility. And I can say one of the number one celebrities in our game, Jenny Finch, who has played for the national team and has been at Firestone Stadium, says that that's one of the nicest facilities and one of the facilities that she has enjoyed playing in the most.
Wow. Well, we want to continue talking more about the team, but I don't want to miss our television audience's opportunity to talk about the foundation, because that's near and dear to your heart. So the Akron Racers has a foundation. Why do you have a foundation?
Well, the foundation is geared toward our amateur players. I'm very much into the development of athletes, young women, the way they perceive themselves, the proud to be me kind of philosophy, and I think sports is a great way to make that opportunity grow within these young ladies. And with our amateur events and the things that we do on the amateur side, we also have our charities, which is our 501c3, which I'm probably the most proud of, to be honest with you, because we've raised over $100,000 in the last several years for mammograms for men and women in our community who can't afford them. And until we have a breakthrough in breast cancer detection, this is the best defense we have. So when you look at our professional team, our commitment to amateur and young players, and our charities, I really think that as far as in its entirety, we are what I consider a true community asset. Absolutely.
How does the community give back to you, Joey?
The community gives back to me in the smiles that we get on people's faces when we entertain them. When you get a thank you from one of our military folks who says thank you for allowing us to come to the game and celebrating, what they do for us. We get a chance to do so much and don't have to listen to bombs going off and all around us because of these men and women who do this sort of thing. So the thank yous we get there, working with places like Stewart's Caring Place, starting the very first Akron Race for the Cure a year ago that raised over $160,000 for the Susan Komen group. This is more about everything we do. We're just not a professional team. And so I'm giving you more reasons than just coming and watching my young ladies play. It's more than a game. It's an experience.
Absolutely. Well, what we're going to do is we're going to take, you and I are going to continue our discussion on an extended edition of Newsnight. But I want you to remind our viewers, when is the first Akron Racers game and how much do tickets cost?
Well, tickets are really rather inexpensive. You can go to the Racers game before less than a movie. So anywhere from $5 to7, and you can get a prime seat because you're really close to the facility. We actually open up on June 27th. Is game one. It's a Thursday night game at 7:05, and that's our home opener. And that home weekend, we play 4 games that weekend, and against the Chicago Bandits. So we're hoping that people will come and share the experience with us.
Well, Joey, I will do my best to be there. Tell me more about partners. One of the things that struck me, and I don't know if you heard me ask Jim this, the Akron Racers obviously is a softball team. The Akron Arrows is a baseball team. The Roller Girls, you guys all know each other. You all work together. You all collaborate together. Tell me how that works.
Well, I think we've become friends. I think a lot of times people you have sporting teams and they compete against each other. And I've always been a proponent from the day one when I started is that we don't compete against each other. What we do is we add value to our community. So if we as a group can have this more positive image about this collaboration. I've talked with the Arrows and we're going to continue to talk about our brother-sister relationship. If you like diamond sports, you're going to like baseball, at the Arrows, you're going to like the racers at Firestone Stadium. So I really think that it's very, very important that we bring something to this community that most communities don't have an opportunity to have. And I think the way we in which handle ourselves and work together is certainly a huge plus for all of us.
We talked a little bit on air about the amateur part of your program. That is so key to what you do. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Well, our amateur program, we have 150 dates that are scheduled between April and October coming up at Firestone Stadium. So just about any night that you want to come down there, you're going to get to see some softball and see some very talented young ladies from our community. Next weekend, depending on Mother Nature and how she shines on us in the next few days, we open the stadium with our very first JV Jamboree, which 16 junior high teams from around Northeast Ohio will come and get an opportunity to play at Firestone Stadium. And then once we get going, there isn't a weekend free between now and the end of August. And we spike those weekends with the Racers games. So we're doing all of this tournament. We bring travel ball teams in here. We'll have 50 to 60 teams in any one weekend that we'll be playing not only at Firestone Stadium, but all over the city of Akron in various venues. And then they culminate at coming to the stadium and play their championship games. We mix it all together. It's like you wake up in the morning and for the first 3 hours you're doing amateur events, and tonight we're doing our professional game, and tomorrow we may be doing something with our charity. So it's a mixture of all three of our organizations in perhaps in any one day.
One of the things I noticed on your website is the scholarship opportunities that are offered. Is that through the foundation?
It's actually through the foundation. We do scholarship opportunities for teams to participate in our events. So in other words, we scholarship them the entry fees. Okay, and with our charities, there is a Center for Continuing Education as a part of our charitable endeavor, and our hope and what we're trying to do with that program is to provide scholarship opportunities for young ladies. Because one of the things that's very, very important to us with our amateur program is to build the talent pool. Build the skill sets of these young ladies. As Jim was just talking, we only play a certain amount of the times because of the sun, and the sun doesn't shine here 12 months out of the year.
True.
So our young ladies are competing for scholarships to go to college with folks that are from California and Florida, where the sun shines virtually all the time. Sure. So we've got to figure out a way to give them more opportunities to perfect their game so that they can have access to collegiate scholarships. Now, I'm not saying they're all going to be professional softball players, but someday maybe one of them is going to turn out to be a doctor or a researcher that's going to figure out how to get rid of this cancer issue that we are all doing. That's what drives my love for the amateur game.
The whole interconnectedness and the potential for it.
The potential is certainly there for some young lady to come out of our off the diamond at Firestone Park and become someone who is very integral in doing some very, very good things for our community, not just in the Akron area, but maybe worldwide.
I have to ask you this: what's the difference between fast pitch and slow pitch?
A number of things. First of all, the pitching. Jim earlier was talking about he didn't want to hit off of one of our pitchers. The pitch is underhand. And it's not
fast pitch?
In fast pitch, and it will travel about 68 miles an hour at a very relatively 43 feet. So when you translate that to baseball, that gets in the upwards close to 100 miles an hour. The comparison between what we do and what the men do. And the way you figure that is the distance between where they throw and where we throw, and the distance that it has to travel. And so it's a real blink. If you're not very good at eye-hand coordination, this particular game is going to be tough. Slow pitch softball is a lifetime sport. It gives you an opportunity to continue playing a great game and not have to have these certain skill sets. You don't have to, run and slide and, do all of the kinds of things that are all really, really competitive, intense kinds of skill sets. I like to look at slow pitch as a lifetime kind of sport that you can do even at my age today. You can still get out there and give it a whirl. Now, if I had to get up against my girls, no way.
No. Did you ever try it?
I have, and I take a pass. I definitely take a pass because there's just, even putting on the helmet, even getting in the batter's box is a little frightening.
Sure. When that ball's
at
coming at
68
you.
miles an hour,
Yeah.
it comes pretty quick, and it's going up and down, and it's the young ladies have the ability to throw multiple pitchers. Most often, and I think Jim would agree. Major league pitchers have like 3 very basic, pitches that they throw. That's what our young ladies can throw 6, 7, or 8 of them, and then can throw them in different locations. A rise ball and a drop ball is a very unique thing to the fast pitch game, and it's very challenging to hit them both.
They can make a dance.
They can make a dance, yes. Yes.
Wow.
And they can make you dance out of the batter's box.
True.
Because you're trying to get away from them.
Couple more questions here. What kind of events, community events, might you be having this season to try to encourage fans to come down to the ballpark?
Throughout the entire summer, all 28 games will have some promotional event going on is associated with each one of those games. We also have our season of caring. We have identified 5 different agencies, in the area, like Stewart's Caring Place, where we're going to dedicate a weekend and raise the level of awareness to those community agencies. But there will be nights when we will have Dollar Dog nights. There will be nights when we will have Kelly and Sam Marta, the 2 young ladies I talked to earlier. Both of them will have bobbleheads this year and will be given out. So we have a number of promotional activities, just very similar in some respect. We don't get into all the food extravaganzas as the Arrows do, because we have kind of a different audience about their needs for food and things. But similar to what the Arrows are doing, we are doing at Firestone Stadium. We just have a little bit of a different game. You're going to see the girls and you're going to see the guys come out. I encourage you to do both.
We are going to post, obviously, your contact information and a link to the website on our website. But if you have an opportunity to say one thing to our viewers to get them to come to, let's say, an Akron Racers game for the first time, what would you say to them?
I would say to you that you need to give it a try, because I believe that if you come once, you will come again. And my goal is, by the time you get to your car at the end of that 2-hour period of time, you will have seen something that you have never seen before. You will have seen something so unique to Akron that most communities don't get to see, and I think it's going to be well worth the amount of money. You're going to feel like you got a heck of a lot for your money that night, and I think you ought to give it a try, because I believe you'll come back and see us again.
Joey, thank you very much. This was such a pleasure.
Thank you.
Not only talk to you, obviously, but Jim and Christy and Teresa. It was just fun. We've got so much opportunity here in the community for fun sports. So best of luck to you. Hope the season is wonderful for you. Good luck on the draft.
Thank you very much.
And thank you for joining us on this extended edition of Newsnight.